Welcome back, everyone. Tom Cryptogram with a few more reviews of how to get started in learning Verilog. And today we're starting off with some real tutorials. In the last episode, we covered some real basics that I felt were the most interactive and best introductions to Verilog as a whole. But they didn't really teach you Verilog. To really learn something, you really need to be able to do it, and NAND is one of the best tutorials I found, along with ASIC World. So we'll get there for learning Verilog. They both start off strong with, if you start from the home page, you just go straight to, there's a Verilog link, and there are a couple of different examples, and we can just jump right in. And this is my favorite way to learn anything. It's just get me started, just get me doing something, and then we'll kind of back up and learn what we did and what that really means, and kind of learn more fluidly that way, in a very interactive way. It holds your attention, it's interesting. It's a very good way to go around things. The issue is it's hard to say that I'm really doing anything. I'm looking at what's being done, and then it's being explained. And this is where, again, those like interactive websites like EDA Playground, which again I will admit is not a real tutorial. It's just an interactive way to put HDL into a web browser and see what it does in a way. You can look at waveforms and things on EDA Playground. This is almost like this is what you could be doing if you knew where to go and what to do. So ASIC World suffers from the same issues. It's extremely good. Kind of breaks down. There's a Verilog link when you go to asicworld.com. You can click straight onto the tutorial section. Verilog in 1 day is very interesting. And if you need to click on introduction, not what appears to be the first link here, block diagram of an arbiter. Just click straight onto introduction, and you start learning about what is HDL and what you need to be doing. So while these are extremely good in one way, they kind of fall off in another way. What do I do with this code? How do I exercise it? So moving on from these, kind of glossed over them. You get it. You understand what this would be. One of my favorite introductions is an 8-bit workshop book called Designing Video Game Hardware in Verilog. I highly recommend it. If you go to 8bitworkshop.com and scroll down to this section here and just open this in a new window, it's only $9.99 for the Kindle version, so you'll get it instantly, be able to download it, and you can open it in the Kindle app. So when you open it in your Kindle app on your PC, I recommend just keeping this table of contents open, and we start off with some really good, interesting lessons, in my opinion, on Boolean logic and truth tables and different things, and we kind of go on and on and on. Again, this is where we're going to say we're suffering from the same issue over and over and over, except we eventually hit a point where we are supposed to go back to 8bitworkshop.com in chapter 6, and that will bring us here. And when we come here, we can click on the IDE workshop, and this is where things get really interesting. You can really see some really interesting interactive tutorials with, just end the door, my goodness. We can see some really interesting and interactive tutorials on a lot of different things happening. And throughout this book, you're creating hardware emulators for different older video game consoles. And it's really fascinating. I think it's a really good way to learn and understand and jump into what you're doing. This particular tutorial suffers from overcomplication. I have no idea what I'm looking at with a lot of these. So here's a simple clock divider. If you're just under the Verilog section, I believe it was under hardware and Verilog, and then we can look at a V-sync generator, a horizontal and vertical sync generator, and then things kind of like just jump into the deep end from there, and it's really, really hard to follow what the hell you feel like you probably missed. So I really am not sure I can recommend this. I feel like this is maybe book 2 or 3 that you jump into when you've got some other basics down. So that brings us to our final book of the day that I think is probably the best no-bull hands-on tutorial that shows you how to jump in to Verilog. And it's called Make FPGAs. I'm using Foxit Reader as the PDF reader if you're interested. I think it has a lot of good options for setting up, either jumping by page or by scroll, doing a dual panel, and I really like it. This is probably my favorite format right here, and it's just fantastic. So I highly, highly recommend getting this book. I picked it up on I think a humble bundle, for all of like $10 with this and like 20 other books or something one time. We should be able to find it pretty easily, and it's one of the most practical real books and real tutorials on getting Blinky going, and blinking where you blink an LED on your actual FPGA. It takes you through downloading Vivado, Xilinx ISE, somewhere around here, this guy right here, and really getting some code working and done. Shows you diagrams, shows you pin outputs, hardware. It's fantastic. How to select your device, how to do everything you need to do. I was really, really impressed with this, and this is the best tutorial I found, 100%, that really got me going, really got me into working on something real and tangible. And even real and tangible can be not as real and tangible as Blinky, but real and tangible is getting an actual design out and working. Most of the other things that I've recommended and will recommend in the future really leave a lot of information lacking as to how to actually get something going, how to come up with your own new concepts. That's what I'm talking about. Getting to a point where I've learned enough to where I can make my own code now and make something new and original. And it doesn't have to be much. Using a clock divider to make Blinky blink at different rates over time and that sort of thing. And then understanding like, okay, well, if I wanted to run at this rate or that rate, something so simple, that's all I need. This is a really fascinating book, and in my opinion, the best way to learn Verilog from the beginning. So, the last thing I wanted to leave you with today is something you've probably never heard of, and something I particularly enjoyed, and we'll move on to that now. Here we are. Listen to that. Love that old sound. I miss when my old PCs in the 80s were just a little bit louder. We've got these different selections. The introduction, if you select in any of these and it's a little longer, you can just hit enter and then scroll down with the up and down arrows. Go to your tutorials, you get your specifications, and hit tab for moving on to different tabs at the top. And this will take you through just the different processes that you can go through, the different bits of syntax that are allowed within the game to create your designs and test them. And so I wish I had actually prepared just a little bit more, and we just go through the NOT gate real quick. But basically with this, I forgot this left off where I left off. So going through the different things here, you should be able to figure out what you need to create the different designs that you're required to create. So this particular one, the NOT gate is an inverter that we went through in whatever that damn website is. Doesn't really matter. The nice visual one that I suggested last week, the very first one. So you're supposed to create a NOT gate, I believe, in the design out of using the syntax of already having a NAND gate completed for you. Then you can use the pieces of the NAND gate to go through and create the NOT gate, essentially. So I just wanted to recommend this one. This was an odd one that I found recently. It was really interesting. I actually emailed the creators and asked them recently if they actually had operator expressions like the tilde for doing the bit flips, and they said no. Everything you need is within these few pages of tutorials here. I wish they had a printable tutorial. I might type one up and make a Google Doc and link to that shortly. I might not if I don't have time. So I feel like that's all they're lacking, is just a printable bit of text for this, so I can refer back to it while messing with my different things. But there's such a small amount of logic and small amount of syntax available in the first place, which is good in its own simplicity for learning. That might not really be necessary. Once you get used to it, it's kind of you'd be fine. I mean, when's the last time you referenced a book? Once you just get into something and start using it, you remember it. I haven't referenced a C++ manual in forever until I need something really odd and specific, for a pound include that I haven't used in a long time, like some of the syntax for, file input and output or something, really strange, doing like binary. Anyway, those are my suggestions for today. I just kind of wanted to get this video out over the weekend before it was over, and I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you learned about a tutorial that you might find is most helpful. I'll catch you all probably Wednesday or Thursday for the next installment. Thank you.